Your faith is your love. It's right. Your faith is your love. Now let me now give you the last words on the cross, as you read them in the book of Luke. Into your hands I commit my spirit. The completed verse in the 31st Psalm happens to be in this manner. After he makes the statement, into thy hands I commit my spirit, comes the word, thou hast redeemed me. O Lord, faithful God. These are the words. Into thy hands I completely commit my spirit. Thou hast redeemed me. O Lord, faithful God. This is the cross on which he's crucified. He redeemed me by proving to me that his word is true. Thy word is true. He told me I would actually prove to my own satisfaction that we are one. That he and I are one. That he is the father of David. And therefore, if he is the father of David, and he and I are one, I must have the satisfaction of knowing I am the father of David. For he tells me, a son honors his father. If then I be a father, where is my honor? Now you tell me we are one, well now prove to me that we are one. And then David comes, and I know there's no uncertainty in what I'm seeing and knowing, he is my son. So he proves that first and greatest commandment. To hear, O Israel, the Lord, our God, the Lord is one. The I am, we speak of as the Lord Jehovah, and my I am. There are one I am. And I shall be a witness to it. So he takes the two letters and simply enlarges the two letters and put the two letters together, and they form the word witness. Ed. And so I will now be a witness to the truth of his great commandment, that we really are one. So for this I was born. For this I came into the world, to bear witness to the truth. Thy word is truth. So I say, God himself not only came, but comes into human history in the person of Jesus Christ. You come down to the whole story, he only really sends into the world Jesus Christ. He is the one that is sent. Now he tells you in the very end, in the 20th chapter of the book of John, as the Father has sent me, even so send I you. After I return to the Father, and we are one, you will be brought and you'll stand before me. And I'll send you into the world, for we are one. And so the one sent is always Jesus Christ. So in the office of the sent, he seems to be less than he really is as the sender. But the sender and the sent are one. He is not inferior as to his essential being, only as to the office as sent, but not as to himself, the sender. So in the end, that Shema, that great confession of faith of the Hebrew, that will stand forever and forever. But man has completely misunderstood it. And they think an Israelite is a descendant of Abraham after the flesh. Not so at all. An Israelite is simply the elect, the chosen, the called of any race, of any nation. And when you are called, you are incorporated into the body of the risen Lord. And then you are sent. At the moment that you are sent, that's Jesus Christ. But you don't know it yet. He didn't send them to change the world of Caesar and to become involved, as all the priesthoods of the world today are teaching. We must become involved. No, you're sent to preach Christ and nothing else. For what would it matter if you owned the whole vast world and didn't know the plan of redemption? What would it matter if you owned everything in this world and knew nothing of the plan of redemption? You knew nothing of him that you could call upon. So how can men call upon him in whom they have not believed? Because they were never told of that one. And how can they believe in him of whom they have never heard? They never heard about it. Well, how can they hear about it without a preacher? And how can men preach unless they are sent? Because you can't make some little ism, as they do all over the world. We have so many isms today, little man-made isms, not based upon anything of the revelation of Christ. They'll call it Christianity. They'll call it by this name, that name, the other name, all referring to Christianity, not one knowing anything about Christ. If you dare to remind them that Christ in you is the hope of glory, you say, yes, but. And but covers a multitude of nonsense. Christ in you is the hope of glory. Do you not realize that Jesus Christ is in you? Unless, of course, you fail to meet the test. Examine yourself to see whether you're holding to the faith. What faith? Well, did you hear about it? Do you believe it? Do you believe he is in you, and with him all things are possible? Well, then call upon him. You can't now deny that you heard about it. And I will tell you from my own experience, I am sent. And so you're hearing it from one who has been sent to tell you. I wasn't sent into this world to teach anything other than to preach Christ. I wasn't sent to do anything but to preach Christ and to tell you who he is. And I tell you, he is your own wonderful human imagination. And I tell you, the only Christ of Scripture is buried right this very moment in every one that is seated in this room tonight. Completely buried in you. And he's going to rise in you. Not as another, but rise in you as you. And everything said of him in Scripture, you are going to experience. And you will know that Scripture is all about you. In the roll of the book, it is all about me. And what was said of him is said of you after you've had the experience. Then you will be called, having completed the work. And you'll be brought into the presence of the Most High, and you'll return to the source. But before, after the disappearance of the one who is talking to you now, you'll be called and sent. So as the Father sent me into the world, so send I you. But wait until I go. Wait until I disappear. For there's no place for me to go save back to the source. And I am one with the risen Lord. And I'll call you one by one. And one by one will be incorporated into the source, the one. And may I tell you that the form of God is a living form, a truly molding form that fashions the individual that he calls into himself, into the likeness of himself. It's a living, molding form, not just something on the outside. When you enter it, you are molded into the likeness of the being that you fuse with. It's a molding form. And everyone will be molded into the identical form, and that form is God the Father. So in the end, there is only one body, one Spirit, one Lord, one God and Father of all. And everyone is going to have it. But when it comes to the story of Christ, I can't go wrong, for I can only speak from experience. I'm not speculating. I'm not theorizing. Let them talk about Christ on the outside, and I simply smile. That is not Christ at all. He came here tonight in the body of everyone who entered this room. And I'm trying to convince you that he is with you always, to call upon him in distress, call upon him under all circumstances. And you can't deny you've heard of him. And you've heard of him from the one So what does he ask for after he has accomplished the work that he was sent to do? He said, I have finished. I have accomplished the work thou gavest me to do. Now, Father, glorify thou me with thine own self, with the glory that I had with thee before that the world was. We were one before, we only separated for a purpose. But we were one before, now return unto me the glory that was mine before that the world was. And now he's going to send everyone within his world. We all are giving a certain number to call when we are sent. And then when the one disappears, he returns to the source, which is the Father. And then he calls them one by one. And then they are incorporated into the source, which is himself. He is one with the risen Lord.